Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My dear students, Assalamu alaikum. In this video lecture, we will learn the another uh, type of another method of the orthopedic surgery, which is used for internal fixation of the fracture, that is intramedullary pinning. So this intramedullary pinning that is used commonly in veterinary practice, and this method is selected in those types of the cases of the fracture in which the uh, fracture, that is the diaphyseal fracture, usually the mid shaft of the fracture, if the case that is involving the mid shaft of the fracture, and particularly the fracture of the humerus, fracture of the femur. So this sort of method that is selected. So this method has its own advantage as well as biomedical disadvantage. So we will be learning in this lecture what are the advantage and what are the disadvantage, and how this in which cases this sort of fracture is recommended, and what are the chances of the healing of the fracture or successful healing of the fracture whenever after we are using this method. And similarly, at the end we will try to learn the practical application, that how we can apply this method in small animals. So this method, intramedullary pinning or IM pinning, it is mostly recommended for the fracture which involve the mid shaft of the bone, diaphyseal fracture of the humerus, diaphyseal fracture of the femur, tibia, ulna, metacarpal and metatarsal bone. Usually this method is not recommended or contraindicated to be used in the case of the radius fracture, because of its insertion points of the pin generally interfere with the carpus. So the biomechanical advantage, if we see the biomechanical advantage of this procedure, this procedure is showing a super resistance against the bending load of the fracture line. But this fracture is show very least resistance against the compressive or axial or rotational loads or rotational forces on the fracture line, and that's why this sort of method is not recommended or indicated in those cases of the fracture where there is a compression and rotation of the fracture line that is higher. So that's why in those cases this method is used in combination with other methods, like the use of orthopedic plates, the use of cerclage wires, and the use of external fixators. Similarly, its another biomechanical advantage is the variation in the diameter of cancellous, uh, variation in the cross-sectional bone marrow cavity diameter. So the bone marrow cavity diameter, that is not smooth, that is not equal. It varies, and starting from cancellous level to the cortical level. So that's why the pin that is inserted into the intramedullary cavity, that is having a unique smooth diameter, but due to variation in the bone marrow cavity diameter, so resistance at a certain point, that is maximum, and resistance at a certain point, that is very much minimum. So this resistance, this least resistant at a certain point, it also reduce the success of this procedure. So that's why it also reduce the functional activity of this procedure. So that's why this procedure should be supplemented and should be used in combination with other implants like cerclage wiring, external fixators, just to overcome with the rotational as well as the axial load of the fracture on the fracture lines. So most commonly these two types of the intramedullary pins, they are used in veterinary practice. One is the Steinmann pins, another is the K wires or Kushner wires, and mostly these K wires, they are used in the metaphyseal fracture as a cross pin, and in a physical fracture of the small animals. But usually For mid-shaft fracture, in case of large breeds of the dog, usually Steinbein pins are recommended as a choice for intramedullary pinning. Similarly, K-wires, they can also be used as an intramedullary pin in a very small breeds of the dog or very small animals. So the intramedullary pins, they usually are made from the 316L stainless steel rods, and most commonly in veterinary practice, Steinman pins they are used, and these pins they are available in various sizes ranging from 1 by 16 inch to 1 by 4 inch, and they may also be classified as a single arm pin or double arm pin on the basis of the points. So if the pin that is having one end blunt and one end pointed, so this is called single arm pin. Then if the pin that is having one point a double arm, the one point, both the points, both the ends they are pointed, so this is called double arm pin. And similarly, these pointed ends they can further be classified into trocar pointed pen and the chiseled pointed pen, depending upon the shape of their points. So if the points they are of having three traumatizing points, then this is the trocar point, and double traumatizing points, and this is the chisel point. Similarly, the K-wires, they are also in small in diameter, and they may be ranging from 0.034 to 0.062 inch smooth pin, which generally have true car point at each end. And Steinman planes used as an interval are generally driven by a Jacob. So Jacob chuck is the instrument that is extremely needed when you have to insert the pen into the intramedullary cavity. Similarly, these pins they can also be used as a cross pins, particularly in the cases when the bone that is involving the metaphyseal fractures. So, uh, before the application of this procedure, uh, this intramedullary pinning that can be applied in that it can be applied uh, in different two types of methods are used for the insertion. One is called normograde insertion, another is the retrograde insertion. In case of normograde insertion, the pin that is say if we are inserting the intramedullary pin in the femur, the pin that is inserted from the trochanteric fossa at the craniolateral aspect of the trochanteric fossa, and it is driven proximally to the distally through the intramedullary cavity, and when it reaches the fracture line, the both the ends of the fracture they should be aligned with each other after their surgical exposure, and then the intramedullary pin that is further driven into the next segment of the fractured bone until unless it reaches up to the level of the caudocentral part of the condyle of the femur. So this method in which we have to insert or drive the nail through a single direction starting from proximal to the distal end of the bone. So this is called normograde pinning. But in case of retrograde pinning, uh, the the intramedullary pin first inserted from the proximal segment of the fractured bone, and it is inserted through the bone marrow cavity at the fracture line, and it is driven from distal side to the proximal side. So once hold the pin that is driven through the bone marrow cavity and it has been came out from the proximal side of the affected bone, then it is reversed. Its direction is reversed into the lower part of the fractured bone, so it is driven into the distal fragment of the fractured bone until unless it reaches up to the level of the epicondyle. So this method is called retrograde method, in which the pin is inserted from the fracture line to the proximal side, and then from proximal side it is reversed back to the distal end of the bone until and it is completely involving the intramedullary cavity. So both these methods they are used. Uh, After the insertion of the intramedullary pin, the post-operative care of the patient that is also very much necessary, and the owner of the patient that should also be guided to respond or pay his responsibility as far as the post-operative management and care is concerned. So first priority is the combat with the strong pain that can arrive after the procedure when the patient that has been came out from the anesthesia or the analgesia should be offered, and this is called post-operative analgesia. For this purpose, morphine derivatives can be used, or the injection like uh, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory injections that can also be offered to the dogs. Similarly, after the procedure, the post-operative radiograph that should also be taken, that will also helps you to evaluate the position and location of the implants. And after the patient that has been handed to the owner and it has reached to its own place, then after that the owner should be advised for leash walking and restriction for leash walking and physical rehabilitation of the fracture until it has been completely healed up. The radiograph that should be taken repeatedly after the 6 weeks of at 6 weeks of interval. The functional period of intramedullary pinning it is shorter as compared to the other method of internal fixation. And so that's why, because of the variation in the cross-sectional diameter of the bone marrow cavity. So that's why intramedullary pin that should also be supported with the use of other internal fixative methods like use of external fixators or use of bone plates uh, to overcome or to increase the functional period of the intramedullary pins. Another complication that can arrive as a post-operative complication, that is the formation of seroma. So uh, because of the irritation of the uh, part of the intramedullary pin that is out of the bone, the small part of the pin, sometimes it get friction with the softer tissues and ultimately it can result into development of the seroma. So this is normally happen to come out in the cases when there is a friction of the pin or part of the pin with the softer tissues. So this problem can be subsided when you remove the or when you pull out the uh, intramedullary pin when the healing process that has been completed. So the owner of the patient that should be informed and that should be counseled about the swelling that can emerge out at the level where the point of the pin that is present out of the bone marrow cavity. Similarly, the intramedullary pin after the animal that has gained the proper health and proper healing of the fracture, the if the pin that is very much problematic, especially if the statement pin that has been inserted, that pin should be removed. So for removal of the pin, there are three conditions. If the pin that is externally palpable, if the part of the pin that is externally palpable, so it can easily be removed after giving a little bit sedation to the patient and a local analgesia at the site of the incision. But for those cases where the pin that has been deeply buried and it cannot be palpated externally, so first you have to take the radiograph, and radiograph that will properly tell you the exact location of the pin at the level of the trochanteric fossa. Similarly, for this kind of cases, the patient should be properly hospitalized and it should properly be given the anesthesia, and a proper surgical procedure should be adopted to give an incision just to explore the external part of the pin and just to remove it from their sides or from the intramedullary cavity. So current radiographs are necessary for the surgeon to pinpoint the exact location of the pin. So K wires and cross pins generally they are not removed. until they can cause